Hey everyone, it's Father Leo with hashtag Ask Father Leo, and the question that I get around this time of the year is it okay for Catholics to celebrate Halloween? Well, the fact is, Halloween on October the 31st falls on the night prior to the celebration of All Saints' Day, which is why it's called Holy Evening, Halloween, Hallow Evening. And so the tradition of getting the little sweets came about because in Europe, on the Feast of All Saints' Day, you would get these little treats, these baked pastries, which is a lot better than some of the candy that people are giving out these days, unless, of course, it's really fancy candy. But these little pastries would be given out to kids who would come and basically ask for it, which is why when it moved to America with all of these different European traditions, it became a little bit more secular. And so instead of making it something to celebrate the saints, we in America, perhaps because we're a little bit more morbid, we turned it into the celebration of what a saint had to go through in order to become a saint. And many of them were martyred. And that's why there is a little bit of a gruesome and goriness to it. But you see, it all goes back to the understanding of death is not something that we need to fear, but also not something that we need to be looking for. It just so happens that commercialism, and that's always annoying, infects our Catholic tradition, and it basically wanted to use fear in a fun way. And so you have all of these things that represent half life, half death, from werewolves to mummies to witches to vampires. And then, of course, over time, it just became an opportunity to celebrate and dress up. I'll be honest with you, when I was a kid, I dressed up as a ghost. Granted, it was Casper, the friendly ghost, but nonetheless, it was a ghost. One year, I was a vampire, and I actually got all my stuff ready together, and I put it all on with the makeup and little horns, and I actually scared myself. So, changed that outfit, turned myself into a ninja. You see, I think what we've got to do is use this opportunity not just to criticize the way commercialism takes our Catholic traditions and really just messes it all up, but maybe use it as a time to educate your children. Number one, that it is a holy celebration. Halloween means holy evening. Find out that the treats were given as almost as a type of a gift or reward, almost symbolic to the Eucharist. What we receive from God is holy and sweetness to our soul. And so the greatest treat that we can give ourselves is faith and holiness through the food of the Eucharist. And so that's why I think Catholics should celebrate Halloween. We should reclaim that tradition and make sure that we are dressing up in something that doesn't make us feel like we need to scare the hell out of us, but more than anything, to put the heaven back into us. So go ahead, celebrate Halloween. Just make sure you're doing it with an educated understanding and with a sense of prayerfulness, and don't be afraid to talk to your kids about death, about the reality of evil, and how we should never be afraid, because goodness will always triumph as long as the good are unafraid. And so don't be afraid on Halloween, and don't be afraid to celebrate it as a good Catholic. So we'll see you next week for another question that I get on hashtag Ask Father Leo. Don't forget, you can send me any question you want, and I'll be happy to try to answer it as best as I possibly can. But between now and the next time we kind of have a conversation, stay hungry.